Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts? What are they? Scouts.
Yes. There you go.
90, I think. Is Troop 90's here tonight, right? 90. Thank you for coming, you guys. So when it comes time, I'm going to ask you guys to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind. Okay, all the scouts? What's he want me to do? Okay, we good, guys? Good. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call our meeting to order. Could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and would Scout Troop 90 lead us, please? Amanda, will you call the roll?
Trustee Messick.
Here.
Trustee Rocco.
Here.
Trustee Sheehan.
Here.
Trustee Casera.
Here.
Trustee Lautner.
Here.
Trustee Zora. Here. President DeCipio.
Here.
Quorum is present, sir.
Thank you, Amanda. Okay, so first on our agenda tonight, I get the privilege of introducing our honoree tonight, who we've asked to come to the board meeting. I think once you hear all of what this gentleman has done, Mr. Hochek, for the Scout community and for our community in general, with all our young men and women now, I think we'll all be very impressed to see how much of a significant impact he's had on all these kids. And I'd like to ask Mr. Hochek to please come up. Whereas Boy Scouts of America was founded on February 8th, 1910, and has grown to be a vital force in the development of our youth through its many programs which encourage the ability of its members to do things for themselves and for others. Whereas Dale Mahachek, a nearly lifelong resident, became a Cub Scout in Grange Park Pack 90 in 1958, then a Boy Scout in Troop 90, and earned the Reverend Eagle Scout Award in 1964. Whereas Dale is a Brotherhood member of Order of the Arrow, Scouting's National Honor Society, and he continued to excel in his achievements, earning the following awards: Scoutmaster Unit Leader Award, Voyager Trace District Distinguished Service Award, District Award of Merit, Lutheran Lamb Religious Award, and Silver Beaver, the highest council award. Whereas Dale's personal contributions are equally impressive and impactful, as he has spent 60 years in scouting, 44 years as troop leader. He has guided over 500 boys, ages 10 through 18, through merit badge completion, civic projects, fundraising, and camping, and helped 60 scouts earn their Eagle Scout Award. Whereas Dale helped instill a promise of scouting, adventure, learning, challenge, and responsibility, thereby producing young people of character, well prepared to meet their family and community responsibilities now and for a lifetime. Whereas Dale has not only favorably influenced the youth in our community, but his strong character, positive expectations, leadership, experience, and dedication have additionally impacted the parents and families of these scouts. Therefore, be it proclaimed that I, James DeCipio, President of the Village of LaGrange Park, do hereby issue this proclamation honoring Dale as a great role model in our community and extend our sincere appreciation for his work and wish him well in his future endeavors. Dale?
Thank you very much. It's a very honored, I feel very honored for this proclamation. As a lifelong resident of LaGrange Park, that makes it especially special. I would like to thank all the people from our unit who came out here tonight to witness this proclamation. And again, thank you very much.
And thank you to Troop 90 for coming out here and supporting Mr. Mahachek. Great award, Dale. Thank you for all that you've done for our community. Next on the agenda is proclamation for Earth Month. Whereas Earth Day is Monday, April 22nd, 2019, and Arbor Day is Friday, April 26th. Whereas Earth Day and Arbor Day inspire many organizations to host environmental events to help raise awareness of environmental issues during the month of April. Whereas the Village of Grange Park Sustainability Commission is hosting a series of educational events honoring Earth Month during the month of April. Whereas an educational session, Landscaping for Impact, will be held at the LaGrange Park Library on Saturday, April 6th at 1:30 to 3 p.m. Whereas an educational session, Household Recycling, with a speaker from Lakeshore Recycling Systems, will be held at the LaGrange Park Library on Thursday, April 11th from 7 p.m. to 8:30. Whereas an educational session, Energy Efficiency and Solar, with a representative from ComEd, will be held at the LaGrange Park Library on Tuesday, April 23rd from 7 to 9. And whereas the LaGrange Park Police Department will participate in the annual drug take-back event at the LaGrange Park Police Department on Saturday, April 27th from noon to 2 p.m. Therefore be it proclaimed the month of April to be Environmental Awareness Month, and I'll encourage all residents of LaGrange Park to participate in any or all of these events. Next, we will have public participation. If anyone would care to address the board, please step up to the mic and give us your address. Any scouts? Okay, moving on. Consent agenda. Amanda?
The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes, Village Board meeting, February 26, 2019. Work session meeting, March 12th, 2019. B, action 2019, road bond paving, contractor award, motion to award a contract with J. Narduli for the 2019 paving program for $1,675,855.50. C, action motion to authorize the president and chairperson of the finance committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. D, action motion to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and April 23rd, 2019, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its regular meeting to be held on April 23rd, 2019.
A motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next up is Village Manager's Report, and it is Julia's birthday today, so let's wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Julia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me okay? Can you folks?
So far.
Okay. So I have just one item to report this evening, and while what I'm about to talk about has nothing to do with me, it couldn't be a better birthday present. So you've heard me talk a little bit about this, and this is the IRMA, the Intergovernmental Risk Management Agency, IMAP Level 2 accreditation. So this is the plaque that we received at the IRMA Board of Directors meeting on March 20th. So we are a member of the Intergovernmental Risk Management Agency, which is a risk pool made up of about 70 other communities where there is a lot of self-governance and risk management, policy development, and insurance coverage that's provided for the risks and exposures that are specific to local government entities, park districts, and intergovernmental units. So this is a phenomenal organization that we've been a part of for a long time. In order to achieve a level 2 accreditation, a couple of things have to happen. The first is that you have to achieve a very high IMAP score. In our case, we achieved a 96 out of 100. Previous to this, our highest score in our history was 92. So an IMAP score is a risk management evaluation that we undergo. All staff, all departments undergo this evaluation on site every 3 years. So this is the highest score to date, and some of the departments even got 100%. So it was a phenomenal score. The second thing that has to happen to get to a level 2 is you have to have such low experience compared to the rest of the pool, where which is below, I think, 38%. So you have to have such a low experience in terms of claims and claims losses that you would qualify for this type of award. And with this award came a check to the village in the amount of $1,500. So this is fantastic. For this particular award, I would give kudos and thanks to the department managers in this village. They all work very hard within their departments in managing risk and our exposures to risk. Our department managers also, and staff within the departments, attend a number of IRMA trainings and a number of governance meetings throughout the years. Also, they are all engaged in risk management discussions periodically. And also, I'd also like to make particular attention, to our employee safety committee, which is organized by Emily Rodman, our assistant village manager. So we have representatives from each one of our departments, and they meet on a monthly basis, and they evaluate any claims that occur, any prevention that can take place to prevent any type of accident like that happening in the future, and they talk about risk management suggestions to make the workplace a safer place. So I think this is a significant achievement for the village, one that we're very proud of. We're going to hang it up on the wall with pride, and thanks to all the department managers and Emily and all of the employees that participate on the Employee Safety Committee for this achievement. So I'll bring it up to you and you can pass it around. That's all I have to report.
So if I may speak for the board, you know, we're very grateful for the opportunity to have this award and all that you and your staff do, Julia, to place risk management a priority in our community. And the results obviously have shown through your constant education and communication with the staff and all the department heads and everybody sitting around this table, and Emily, you too. It puts us in a great position. Risk management is a huge subject today. And I just applaud all of you, as I'm sure the board does, on recognizing it and making it an important piece of our daily work. So thank you. Any other comments from the board? Just another award that LaGrange Park receives. Okay, moving on. Administration Committee, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening I have 3 items to report on from the administration area. First is regarding our new refuge program, which begins next week, April 1st. The village's new refuse and recycling program will begin next month. Service will be provided by Lakeshore Recycling Systems, LRS. All residents will receive their new carts prior to March 31st, which has already begun yesterday. Current Republic Services carts should be left at the curve this week on March 28th, as Republic will pick them up following the regular refuse collection service. If you have extra Republic Services stickers, they will be accepted by LRS through the month of April, or you may return them no later than April 12th to Village Hall for a refund or exchange. Additional details on the program should be directed to LRS at 773-685 8811. The second item is regarding the upcoming Community Volunteer Day, a very important event for our village. The village is pleased to announce that it's scheduled the annual Community Volunteer Day for Saturday, May 4th from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. During the event, community volunteers provide assistance to seniors in the community who need help with basic lawn care and spring cleanup. Village residents who are interested in volunteering are encouraged to get involved with the worthwhile project. Residents in need of assistance are encouraged to contact the village, or to volunteer or to request assistance, call the Village Hall at 354-0225, or you can email Sandy Bakalich at sbakalich@lagrangepark.org. And the third item is regarding the upcoming Arbor Day nominations. National Arbor Day is Friday, April 26th. Our village is accepting nominations to plant a tree in honor or in memory of a person or group that has made a positive contribution to the community or whose achievements deserve special recognition. The tree will be planted in a public space, for example, in a park or a parkway, etc., during a public ceremony in late April or early May, and a small plaque mentioning the honoree will be installed at the base of the tree. For more information on the nomination process, please visit the village website at www.lagrangepark.org. Any questions that the village may have regarding the Arbor Day celebration may be directed to our Village Hall at 708-354-0225. And that concludes my report from the administration area tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Zora.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to report the Building Department activities for February 2019. 32 building permits were issued in February compared to 33 last February. 49 permits were issued compared to 41 last year in 2018. Estimated construction costs for the month were slightly more compared to last February. Permit fees for the month were slightly down compared to last February. 47 inspections were conducted February compared to 64 last year. All were approved. Permits for 2 residential additions were issued this month. A permit was submitted for a small expansion of the Huntington Learning Center. Staff investigated numerous flood complaints that were received after the intense rains early in the month. The laundry room renovation project at Homestead Apartments was closed, with remaining electrical inspections conducted during the month. Staff continued dialogue with representation at the Park Home Shopping Center regarding status of code violations. The rear fence was replaced along with tuck pointing of the rear masonry wall. Plymouth Place obtained a permit to replace windows in one of the residential units. They're evaluating the new windows and the installation contractor. They plan to install the windows in many additional units over the next few years. Towards the end of the month, installation of a large underground stormwater storage system began at Brook Park School. I also have an item that's for discussion and action. Each year, Jewel Osco erects a seasonal greenhouse in their parking lot. Jewel is requesting an installation of a 1,560 square foot greenhouse to house their seasonal flowers and shrub sales. If approved, the structure will be constructed immediately and remain in use through July. The proposed structure is the same size as what has been allowed in the past several years. This type of structure is regulated by Section 193.195 of the Zoning Code, which addresses temporary uses and structures. More specifically, Section 193.195C9 regulates temporary retail stands, allowing them in commercial zoning districts but limiting their size to 250 square feet. Section 193.195A3 requires village board approval for these temporary uses not specifically listed. Staff recommends approving the temporary use permit for Jewel Osco to permit the installation of a temporary greenhouse structure up to 250 square feet in size. I would like to make a motion to approve a temporary use permit for Jewel Osco located at 507 Eastwood Lawn to allow for construction of a 1,560 square foot temporary structure for seasonal retail sales to be occupied on or after March 26, 2019, and to be removed no later than July 15, 2019.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Zora.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is something we do every year, and I see no reason why we shouldn't approve it.
Any comments from the board? Seeing none, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Engineering Capital Projects Committee, Trustee Casera.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, I have 4 items to report on. As has been previously reported, the closeout work on the village's 2018 paving program continues. The contractor, K5 Construction Company, still has a few remaining items on the punch list to complete. However, the weather needs to moderate before these landscaping items can be performed. The second item, the final documentation process for the Harding Avenue and Sherwood Road resurfacing projects continues. These improvements are contracted through the Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, and the required documentation and material inspection reports submittals must follow their procedures. These activities will continue through this winter. Third item, during February, National Power Riding performed sewer cleaning and televising in the areas selected this year. These sewer segments included the streets that are part of the 2019 paving program and where we are currently experiencing drainage deficiencies. This information will be used to develop a sewer repair program to be brought back to the board for further discussion and possible action in late spring. The design work on the 2019 street paving program was completed and the project is currently out for bid. The construction this year will be performed under a single contract in order to attract more potential bidders. The results of the bid will be brought back to the village board for their consideration in March. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Casera. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Messick.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will start with the Police Department report, activities for February of 2019. Total crimes reported are slightly higher from last year, with 53 incidents reported through February of this year compared to 47 through the same period last year. Traffic enforcement is at 752 total tickets issued through February of 2019. Overall police activity is at 1,848 incidents reported through February of 2019. Please note that 792 of the incidents are traffic stops. The next session of the Police Citizen Academy will begin on Thursday, April 4th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. and will continue until May 2nd. If anyone is still interested in attending, please contact Officer Chris Dempsey at 708-352-7711, extension 125, or email at cdempsey@lagrangepark.org for availability. On Saturday, April 27th, the Police Department, in association with the Cook County Division of the DEA, will be hosting a drug take-back program from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the lobby area of the Village Hall. Any questions, please contact R.O. Jackie Vaselli at 708-352-7711, extension 204, or email at jv, can't even read it all. You can look it up on the website at lagrangepark.org. A recent statewide report from SafeWise Safety and Security has indicated that LaGrange Park is ranked 38th safest city from the top 50 of Illinois. Congrats to all on making LaGrange Park a safe and secure village on a daily basis. And just on that note, that is something we constantly see awards on how safe this town is, and that's a lot of credit to our police and our fire departments. All right, that concludes police monthly report. On to the fire department report. EMS incidents this month were 107. There have been 258 year-to-date compared to 266 in 2018. Fire rescue incidents in February were 51. There have been 112 year-to-date compared to 70 last year. As part of firefighter cancer prevention efforts, new wipes have been purchased and placed on fire apparatus this month, which are specifically designed for firefighters to use on the scene immediately after fires. They're designed to remove carcinogens from one's hands, face, neck, and head, the areas most susceptible to the absorption of dangerous contaminants. Personnel participated with other police and fire agencies in the annual Heroes versus Heroes game, which is a basketball game played against the Park Junior High Mighty Patriots team. Annual on-site firefighter medical evaluations took place during the month, and due to ice storm warning issued, additional EMS personnel staffed the station. 2 panels of large fire apparatus bay door at the fire station were replaced as the metal covering had begun to separate from the rest of the door panel. And during the month, we received the results of our recent property protection classification survey, of which we are now officially classified as 03, 3X. Again, the actual points we received went up from a total of 70.45 in 2012 to 75.34 in 2019. And this is mostly related to our efforts in community risk reduction, public education, and fire prevention. More good news. Congratulations. And we do have one action item. So general background, our ambulance 1215 is now 9 years old and exhibiting signs of wear and tear, including but not limited to many areas of the body rust, bubbling paint, etc. A total of $12,500 has been budgeted to refurbish the box of this ambulance, the rear main portion, in the current fiscal year. The last ambulance that we own, previous to the two we currently operate, was also refurbished at about 9 years old. This allowed for our department to keep it in the fleet for 17 years total. Ambulance 1215, the one we are looking to currently refurbish, is considered our secondary ALS response transport unit. As such, it is used as a backup to our primary ambulance during maintenance or special events. It is rotated into service 1 day a week, and it also regularly responds to additional calls in the village when additional staffing allows. The refurbishment of Ambulance 1215 will include properly repairing areas of rust and repainting the box or main body. It will also include replacing lettering and striping on the vehicle. After reviewing our options, the fire department obtained 2 proposals for the work. One we obtained from Rock River Auto Body in Sterling, Illinois, for a total of $28,880. This is the shop used by the dealer who we originally bought the ambulance through, and the proposal also included lettering and reflective striping. The second proposal was from Transportation Repairs and Services in Hodgkins for a cost of $9,793. We've used the shop in the past for a couple of repairs and painting jobs for other fire apparatus we have owned. This proposal did not include lettering and striping, so we obtained a separate proposal for such, and the proposal is from Weideman Sign in Berwyn for a cost of $3,365. The sign company did lettering on our recently purchased ambulance, has done work on other fire vehicles. As such, the total cost of doing this work locally using these 2 vendors is a total of $13,158. Based upon the proposal we received, staff recommends approval of Transportation Repairs and Services, Inc. to do the repair and repainting work on the ambulance, along with Weideman Sign to do the lettering and striping. This is being brought to the board as the total cost of the project is $13,158. In addition, the proposed cost of the project exceeds the budgeted amount by $658. Staff believes the difference can be covered by other available funds within the fire department. It should also be noted that staff is aware of the substantial difference in the 2 proposals. In looking at such, it appears that most of the cost difference is related to the number of labor hours each company believes are needed for the job and the cost of the lettering and striping decals. As our department has utilized TRS in the past and has been satisfied with their work, the staff is comfortable utilizing them, even noting substantial lower cost proposal. So for the motion I'd like to make, for discussion and action, repair and replace ambulance 1215 body box. The motion is to repair and repaint the box portion of the ambulance 1215 body and restripe letter the vehicle for a cost of $1,158, $997.93 for TRS, and $33.65 for Weideman Sign in Berwyn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Messick?
Yeah, I'm fully in support of this. First, I appreciate the staff's work on finding another proposal that's considerably less. We make the most out of the least here as far as our funds. I've said I'm very, very happy with staff and how we do that. And also to anticipate the question, why are they so different? Because that's something we generally look. Sometimes it looks like they're going to miss something, but that was already answered. So I'm full support of it. I think we should do it.
Chief, any comments?
No, thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And that concludes public safety, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Messick. Moving on to Public Works Committee, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Works Operations Report for February 2019 is as follows. Public Works winter operations continued rolling strong through the month of February. 116 hours were spent plowing and salting roadways, along with clearing sidewalks and school crosswalks. 313 hours of overtime were spent viciously fighting snow and ice in February through winter operations. Public Works salted 1,643 miles of roadway using 213 tons of salt and plowed over 1,800 miles of roadways throughout the month. A special brush pickup occurred in February due to an ice storm causing tree limbs to fall. DPW spent 79 day shift hours collecting nearly 58 yards of brush. Public Works met with the IEPA to complete our combined sewer overflow inspection. John Jandik attended the Illinois Department of Agriculture workshops to retain his pesticide applicator and right-of-way license. 78 regular hours were spent on the maintenance of Public Works equipment and vehicles. 153.5 hours were spent filling potholes and patching water excavations, and with approximately 15 tons of asphalt being used. 52.5 day shift hours were spent on building and ground maintenance around Public Works, Village Hall, and along 31st Street. Tree maintenance, trimming, and inspections were performed during 21 regular hours. Work orders were completed with crews removing roadkill, making sign repairs, and attending to resident concerns. Water Department operations, over 254 day shift hours and 79.8 overtime hours were spent during the month of February on maintenance and repairs of sewer and water mains. 29,180,000 gallons of water were purchased from the Brookfield North Riverside Water Commission. 1,474 water meters were read in Section 2. 55 monthly accounts and 12 final meter readings were taken. Various inspections, appointments, and service calls were performed. 8 water and sewer inspections, 5 meter appointments, and 19 service calls were performed. 15 water bacterial samples were taken. 52 utility locations were identified prior to excavation. 6 6-inch water mains and 1 4-inch water main were repaired. Director Reddy, kudos to the crew on a long, hard winter. I hope you would agree with me that the worst is behind us, yes?
I sure hope so.
Thank you and to your department for all the hard work they did. We sure appreciate it. Next, Mr. President, the 2019 Hancock Engineering Agreements, Raymond Avenue Water Main. In preparation for the Raymond Water Main Replacement Project, engineering services agreements are being presented for the Village Board approval. Previously discussed with the Village Board at the March 12, 2019 work session, the LaGrange Road and 31st Street Water Main Replacement Project is being postponed for this upcoming construction season. While performing the discovery phase of engineering, potential utility conflicts arose that will require Nicor Gas to relocate one of their gas mains along LaGrange Road from 31st to Garfield. This relocation could take approximately 4 to 6 months before completion, which would not allow ample time for the project to be concluded by next winter. Staff brought forth an alternative plan to the Village Board. The aforementioned plan is replacement of the water main on Raymond from 31st Street to 26th Street, in which the Village Board is in agreement. Engineering agreements will be instituted to facilitate the proposed project. Design engineering costs are $103,000 and construction engineering costs are $90,000. Staff's recommendation is discussion and approval of these two agreements between the village and Edward Hancock Engineering Company to advance these projects. Therefore, Mr. President, at this time, I make a motion authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement between the Village of LaGrange Park and Edwin Hancock Engineering for engineering services in an amount not to exceed as follows. 1, $103,000 for the design engineering for Raymond Avenue water main replacement from 31st Street to 26th Street. Second, $90,000 for the construction engineering for Raymond Avenue water main replacement from 31st Street to 26th Street.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
It's disappointing why we can't attack the main project this year, but this project on Raymond will be beneficial for the east side of town, and it's also advantageous to us all that it would happen if approved during the summer, as not to affect the St. Louis kids or Brook Park kids.
Any other discussion from the board? Seeing none, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Last, Mr. President, the Community Development Block Grant application resolution, roadway improvements. The purpose is to seek approval of a resolution to pursue a maximum grant in the amount of $400,000 towards resurfacing Meadowcrest and Woodside from 31st Street to 29th Street and 28th Street from Forest Road to Homestead Road as part of the CDBG grant application due on March 29, 2019. Recently, Cook County revised the census tract information for the village in early March of 2019. This information is used to identify areas of low to moderate income. These areas are eligible to receive Cook County Community Block Grant Development Grant funding for certain types of projects. For the first time, the village has an area that qualifies. An application will be submitted on the village's behalf for the proposed roadway improvements on Meadowcrest and Woodside from 31st to 29th Street and 28th Street from Forest Road to Homestead Road. Staff recommends that the board approve a resolution as part of the grant application requirement for the CDBG at tonight's meeting. Therefore, Mr. President, make a motion to approve a resolution as part of the grant application submittal.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think for those in attendance and for those watching at home, I'd like to call on Village Engineer Paul Flood to kind of explain how we got to this point, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, trustee. The county periodically reviews the census tract map information for all municipalities within the county. It was most recently done in early March. During our review of the updates that were provided by the county, we noted that a portion of the village that we just talked about was actually for the first time eligible, and it seemed like an opportunity to try to leverage pursuing some county funds to do the types of improvements that have been contemplated anyhow. So instead of needing to rely on corporate money, perhaps we can get something from the county to do the roadway projects that we had already identified. And it's just a periodic process that the county goes through where they reevaluate it. When asked a little bit more specifically about why they thought this change might have occurred, the county just responded with, well, these types of things typically happen when you've got more retirees in the area. And it's a happenstance, and it just doesn't reflect that the community's changed in any way. It's just an opportunity for us to leverage ourselves potentially. But it's a very competitive grant.
Thank you, Mr. Flood, and thank you to all the department heads on doing the footwork and trying to get some grant money, bring some of that Cook County tax dollar home to Grange Park. It'd be nice to get those roads improved.
Any other comments from the board? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. If we would be so fortunate as to receive this grant, is there typically a time frame at which we would have to move aggressively, and would we be ready?
Yes, sir. The time frame is that they would notify us midsummer, and the funds would not be available till 2020. So the construction would occur in the year 2020.
So we would have time to react in
Yes,
the
sir.
time frame. Thank
Yes.
you.
Any other comments? Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And that concludes Public Works tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Moving on to Finance Committee, Trustee Rocco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Up to date, we are 83% into our fiscal year. So our fiscal year-to-date general fund revenue is at 79% of the annual budget and about $284,000 higher than the prior year, last year. Property tax revenue is 4.3% lower than last year due to the timing of receipts. Last year, the village received a portion of the property tax sooner than usual, as some people paid their tax bills early due to the federal tax law changes. Sales tax receipts are 13.4% higher than last year, while telecommunication taxes are down by 8.4%. Intergovernmental revenue is up about 7.5% compared to last year, with income tax receipts 6.2% higher than last year, and state use tax 14.5% higher than last year. Miscellaneous revenue is significantly higher than last year, due primarily to the increase in the tower lease fees, interest income, and the net West radio system member reimbursements. The total general fund expenditures are within expectations at 76% of the annual budget and about $102,000 greater than last year. Also to report, Mr. President, is that the Finance Committee has just report, we've met a couple times, and the Finance Committee has reached a consensus to present the proposed budget to the board. And I just want to point out that April 9th, that at 7:15, there will be a presentation of the budget. It's a, well, it will not be televised because it's a work session, but if you're able to attend, it's a great opportunity for you to see where our funds are going, because the budget is a policy statement. One of the things also to point out is that our budget is online, and it will be available at the library, a hard copy at the library, probably this Thursday. And one final thing to point out is that the budget, there are a couple changes to the draft budget that's currently online, and these changes will be made in the next few days that have been approved for the recommended changes. And basically, there are 4 changes. One has to do with the water project, as we heard tonight from about the Grange Road water project, that project has to be deferred because NICOR needs to move their infrastructure before we can go forward with it. So that's why we're taking on the Raymond Water Project. So what was funded this year for the LaGrange Road project, that's going to be eliminated, but we are then moving towards next year to do the Raymond project. Also, Sewell Point repairs that we will not be able to complete in time for this year, so that will be rebudgeted, and we'll be doing that next year. And it might be we might be gaining a little savings. Are anticipated that we'll have some savings. And the Budget Works truck, there was a truck that we need to get work done, and it's number 630, and that work cannot be done until June. So therefore, it's just a push. We're just rebudgeting it from this year until next year. And then one thing that is an addition is the fiber network project. We're adding funds for the fiber network project to improve our connection, really, between our government offices. So, and then also we'll take there's future benefits to it, which will be offered in greater detail in next week or 2 weeks. So I just want to point out that these are the changes we'll see. You will see these changes in the draft budget, and if you're able to attend the April 9th work session at 7:15, it's starts early to get a presentation. You'll find an excellent presentation. And at this point, and I probably should say it again next time, but I just want to say that we should. Kudos to our staff, to our village manager, to our directors of the different departments, the effort and the work that went into this. To Larry, our finance director, an incredible job. You'll notice with our 5-year plan, it's been changed a little since prior years. It's easier than ever to read. So thank you very much, Mr. President. Nothing else to report.
Thank you, Trustee Rocco. It is a phenomenal document. I want to thank you, Trustee Rocco, as chair, and Trustee Kucera and Trustee Messick for all of your work as our committee reviewing this process. So thank you.
They make our job easy.
They do, don't they?
Yes.
We are so blessed.
Yes, we are.
Okay, moving on, other reports. Village clerk.
I just have a quick reminder for next Tuesday is Election Day, April 2nd, with early voting continuing through April 1st, with the closest early voting sites being Bellwood Village Hall, Brookfield Village Hall, and Hodgkins Village Hall. And that is all I have to report.
Thank you, Amanda. Our village treasurer?
No report tonight, Mr. President.
Our village engineer?
No report, Mr. President.
Our village attorney?
No report, Mr. President.
But I know our commercial revitalization committee, trustee Kucera, has something. Trustee Kucera?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one item to report on and one item for action and discussion. Staff has been working with the owner and property manager of the 7-Eleven Strip Center regarding their reinvestment plans and a potential financial incentive to install a fire sprinkler system in the vacant tenant spaces. The property manager, on behalf of the property owner, has submitted a request for an inducement resolution, which will be considered at the March 26th Village Board meeting. Another second item, which is up for discussion and an action item, pertains to the same property. The village has been in conversation with Robert Bigelow, the new manager for the 7-Eleven Strip Center located at 704 to 722 East 31st Street. The property owner, Park Home Cemetery Company, LLC, has placed a renewed focus on reinvesting in the property, addressing outstanding code violations, and enhancing the aesthetics of the property. As you are aware, the village has a requirement that under certain circumstances, commercial, retail, and restaurant spaces must have fire sprinkler systems. Despite this requirement having been in place for a number of years, a large number of the village's commercial properties remain without a sprinkler system, including the majority of the spaces at the 7-Eleven Strip Center. Currently, the only tenant space within the center with the fire sprinkler system is the 7-Eleven. This requirement, while necessary for life safety and the preservation of the property, has been a significant deterrent to the redevelopment of the commercial property within the village. The installation of a sprinkler system is costly, and consequently a number of storefronts in the village remain vacant or underutilized. The 7-Eleven Strip Center currently has 4 vacant storefronts. There are 9 storefronts in total. The manager of the property has been working diligently to attract viable tenants to the center and is currently working with 3 different restaurants who have strong interest in the property. In order for these restaurants to locate in the center, the spaces must have fire sprinkler systems installed. The property owner has obtained preliminary estimates for the cost of upsizing the service line to the building and installing the system throughout, and is currently in the process of obtaining specific quotes for the work required. Due to a number of factors which are outlined in the attached request submitted by the property manager, installation of the sprinkler system at this time is cost prohibitive. Thus, the property manager, on behalf of the property owner, is requesting financial support from the village to assist with the installation of the sprinkler system. The property owner is eager to lease the vacant spaces and concerned about losing the 3 potential restaurant tenants considering the center. They are requesting the village approve inducement resolution providing conceptual approval of the project. Because the village requires additional information to determine how much of an incentive would be appropriate, this resolution does not commit a specific amount to the buyer. Rather, the resolution specifically states that any financial assistance would be contingent upon the village approving and executing a redevelopment agreement with the owner in accordance with terms and conditions to be negotiated by both parties. Approval of the resolution would allow the owner to continue to proceed with the installation of the sprinkler system now in order to meet the timeline of potential tenants. It should be noted that any financial incentive provided for installation of a fire sprinkler system would need to be provided through the 31st Street Barnesdale Business Development District, as this type of improvement is not an eligible TIF expense under the TIF Act. Motion action requested. Due to the time-sensitive nature of this request, this item is both for discussion and action. This time I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution of the Village of Grange Park. Excuse me, that's a lot of words. Motion to approve a resolution of the Village of Grange Park, Cook County, Illinois, to induce the redevelopment of certain property within a business district.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Trustee Kucera?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is getting fun. It seems like every other month, we have more people wanting to invest in our village and the business districts and in our business community. So very excited about these type things. The 7-Eleven property has always been a property that's been very top of mind to myself. from a number of reasons. One is its location. It's located a few blocks south of our park district, where we also have our baseball fields and a lot of our youth activity. Secondly, it's a couple of blocks north of our school, our primary grade school. So what a great location for families to have a place to, and hearing about restaurants potentially going in, eat as well as shop in the 7-Eleven, which they've been doing for a number of years. And it's very exciting to see the potential for this property to be redeveloped. With that said, I am very much in favor of looking at the resolution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Casera. You're absolutely correct. This area is something that your committee has looked at and the village has looked at repeatedly, and it gives me great privilege tonight to introduce the property manager, Mr. Bigelow, who's with us, and thank you for taking time out to come and showing how it is important to you also. So we're very grateful for all that you're doing. It's great to see some action down there, and I'll take any other comments that the board may have. Trustee Rocco?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, it's very exciting because for that strip, to see improvement in that strip mall. And it's very exciting that we have an active manager who's interested in seeing improvement there. So thank you very much for taking that on, and good luck. And I think it's a great, this is why we did the BDDs.
Right. Before we move on, Chief, would you like to make a comment, please?
Yeah, just a clarification and a comment. For the record, the 7-Eleven does not have a fire sprinkler system. The entire strip mall lacks a fire sprinkler system, just so everybody's aware.
Oh.
Also, just in regards to our sprinkler requirements, obviously the fire chief standpoint, appreciate the board's support of the sprinkler requirements, as I think it's critical to protecting our commercial businesses. Back when the requirement that affects the shopping center went into effect back in 2003 when we updated our fire code, we took into account, for the most part, smaller tenants in our smaller buildings and our shopping centers. And we exempted business and mercantile. If you change to a business or mercantile under 5,000, the sprinkler code did not require retrofitting. But what we've seen over time is we wanted educational, such as daycare. We wanted public assembly, which is where restaurants fall into, to be sprinklered at a much lower threshold of square footage. So just so you know, there are some key components that trigger the sprinkler requirement. We did try to take the business community into consideration, thinking that those would be office spaces or small retail spaces. But because it is a more intense use of cooking, if someone decides to serve alcohol, or if there's educational facilities, the sprinkler requirement kicks in, just so you know the background. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Trustee Zora?
Thank you, Mr. President. I also am very excited to see this property cleaned up and the vacant spaces filled. So I'm on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Trustee Messick?
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, echo what my fellow trustees have been saying, and I appreciate both staff continuing to work on this and Mr. Bigelow and the property owners, kind of working together and keeping through it, because this is something what we need. And the BDD and TIF, where it applies, this is really why we did this. And as Trustee Casera said, it's very exciting to see a lot of this now coming to fruition. And we will only, see more. But I said it was good job, everybody working together, and this is why we did it, and we're starting to see it pay.
Thank you, Trustee Messick. Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing to add other than my support for moving forward with this resolution.
Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Trustee Casera.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, kudos and thank you to Emily for all her work with this committee and the TIF and BDD districts.
Okay, motion to approve community collectors' reports as presented.
So moved.
Motion and a
Second.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I just have a couple items. Number one, to remind the board again, the drive down is May 8th. Whoever's interested in driving down with us to Springfield, please let Julia know or Sandy know. We have great relationships with our two retirement centers in the Grange Park, Plymouth Place and Bethlehem Woods. And it's again a privilege tonight to introduce Amy Duncan, who's with us representing Bethlehem Woods. Thank you for coming to our meeting, Amy. And we look forward to working with you. Saturday, we had a new business open in our community. Bishop's Cuts and Colors opened up in the Village Market. Tentatively, we have a ribbon cutting ceremony set for 4 o'clock this Friday. So if anyone would love to join us, let's make sure it happens. Talk to Sandy. I believe it's 4 o'clock, though. The last thing I have, I thought Troop 90 was the troop tonight, but you know what? Troop 33 from St. Francis is much, much better here. Now that Troop 90 is gone, welcome. And I guess you guys are here because you're doing a merit award or doing some work for, I'm sorry, what is it? Merit badge for community service? Would each one of you young men care to stand up and introduce yourselves for us? Wonderful. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, young men, for coming tonight, and I think you guys owe your troop leaders and your parents an awful lot for putting support behind you to achieve what you're going to achieve through this process. Thank you for coming tonight. And if there's anything you guys need, these trustees would be happy to spend time with you and answer any of the questions you have to get your awards. But thank you for coming. Public participation. Anyone care to address the board?
Yes, Mr. President. I do.
Now you're Mrs. Rocco,
Is that your name and address?
Co-president of the League of Women Voters, that's what I'm here. I just wanted to point out, that I think it's a great opportunity to point out that the League, the LaGrange Area League of Women Voters, we are hosting a program on the 2020 census on April 11th at the LaGrange Public Library at 7 o'clock. The League of Women Voters, LaGrange Area, is sponsoring this meeting of the 2020 census. How can we do this? The Illinois may be affected in 2 ways if we do not complete and get an accurate count in the next census. One negative effect is Illinois may lose up to 2 representatives, seats in Congress, and then also thus withdrawing and making the districts larger, which would make it even harder for the remaining representatives to advocate for their constituents. The other negative effect is to reduce federal funding for Illinois communities. So it's very important that we all get counted in the census, and it's a great opportunity for you to come to hear about how you want to make sure that we are counted. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rocco. Any other public participation? Seeing none, any new business? Motion to move into executive session?
I make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body in accordance with 5 ILCS 120/2C1, not to return to open session until our next scheduled meeting, April 9th at 7:15.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera? Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We'll move into executive session.